How do you not care about the narcissist? Like, how do you get to the place where they don't actually mess with you anymore, mentally, emotionally, triggering you to the place of like where you're like, crap, like I care about this person, or they're gonna mess me up if I see them, if I run into them. You might be at the place where you're tired of the hold that a narcissist has on your emotions and on your thoughts. Maybe you're in the place of you're in this cycle of where you keep going back to a narcissist, or you keep getting into the rumination and longing for the narcissist, or you're just like, I just want to be able to see him and not react. Like, I want to see him and feel nothing. I want to see him and kind of have this void, this like numbness that no longer controls me and no longer puts me back in the trauma. Is that where you're at today? Because we're going to talk about this a little bit of how we actually get to this place, how we actually work through the strategies and the steps to be able to get to where you don't actually care about the narcissist. Not that you don't care about a human being, but you don't care about this person having a hold over you emotionally, mentally, and physically in an abusive way. We're going to talk through a couple different steps moving forward. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. I'm the founder of Raw Motivations, the creator of the NARCAP, and your guide in the Escape Toxicity Challenge, which is a 7-day challenge. Take a week, it's $7, you get lifetime access, you get in with other people who have gone through the same exact thing. Because first off, you need to understand that you're not alone, you're not crazy, and you're not hopeless. The stuff that you've gone through, we can actually walk you through, talk you through to be able to move forward, to change the story, to be able to change your life and help you actually grow, change, heal, and develop. So we'd love to have you join that. Go to escapetoxicity.com today. When we talk about this aspect of how to not care about the narcissist, how to actually move to a place where they no longer have that mental and emotional hold, the number one thing that we have to do with almost everybody who's been in a toxic relationship with a narcissist is break the trauma bond. The trauma bond is built of hope and potential, cognitive dissonance, and intermittent reinforcement. We don't have enough time to go into all of that today because I've got other videos about that. But the trauma bond piece is one of the hardest things for people to be able to break. We've seen it. We've experimented with working with people to try to see how do we actually break this? How do we actually work on walking them through this section so that they can actually break the trauma bond and move into a place of power and certainty of who they're actually called to be. The trauma bond is a powerful psychological attachment. It keeps you in this like addictive model. You can almost think of like one of the easiest ways to feel and describe it is that you're an addict. You're an addict for this other person, thinking maybe they'll change, maybe they'll get better, and you keep going back and forth, back and forth. And it keeps you in a place where you're emotionally tied to the toxic person. Think of it as if like I'm standing here and I'm the narcissist and I have this rope, and this rope I have in one hand, it extends up and I have it other hand, so just like a U, okay? And then I take this rope and I put it around you, and then I pull both sides of the rope and I'm pulling you back to me. That is what a narcissist is typically doing inside the trauma bond. And each one of those ropes that they put around you every single day is a different lie, is a different limiting belief, is a different story that they're telling you to make you trapped and make you stuck inside that toxic relationship. You weren't good enough. No one's going to want to date a single mom. No one actually cares about you. This is as good as it's going to get. Like, you're not enough for me. Like, there's so many different stories, and your story is unique to you. There's so many different stories that people struggle with that keeps the person stuck to the toxic person over and over and over again. So when we get to the place of saying, hey, how do we actually move forward and break this bond so it no longer has this emotional tie, this emotional hold over you, we get to the place that we have to understand the truth of the situation. And you're like, that seems so basic, that seems so simple. You'd be shocked how many people don't do it. We list out an actual systematic process to move forward of understanding the story you believe, how to be able to put it with the facts, and then how to be able to correctly put in a new story based on the facts of the situation. This is the process that we do of rewiring your mindset. We do it every single day inside of Thriver with stacking, like going through this process to rewire your mind to be in a place of clarity and certainty of understanding this is what's actually true. This is what's actually going on. But you have to be able to recognize this is what's happening. You recognize the manipulation, the control tactics, the things that have happened from a narcissist, and work towards the detachment. The problem is you can't just go no contact and have it heal you. You can't just get to the place where you know everything about narcissism and have it heal you. You can't move to the other side of the world and have it heal you. At the end of the day, we have to rewire the story that you believe. Otherwise, you'll continue to sell yourself on a story, on a fiction, on a fantasy that will continue to pull you back to a toxic person or set you lined up to get in another toxic relationship. This aspect about educating yourself about narcissism, the effects, we walk people through like the different pieces about narcissism. But when we step into the aspect of breaking the trauma bond, it has to do with rewiring the story that you believe, grounding you back into truth, into reality of the situation. The hard part is you're stuck in the fog right now. The fear, the obligation, the guilt that leaves you trapped at a place where you think, I don't think I can heal. I don't think I know how to heal. I don't know the next step. That's what we try to provide, is the next step forward in having you understand narcissism and break free of the trauma bond. You can start off by going to Escape Toxicity, the $7 challenge, to help you understand it and to get the base foundation of what you need to know to move forward. The second thing about not caring about a narcissist anymore, not having them trigger or make you react, is this process of being able to get rid of the rumination. Now, besides the trauma bond, the rumination is the second hardest thing to actually get rid of. It's almost like residual trauma bond effect that still is there, that keeps you thinking about this person, keeps you wondering about this person, keeps having you go back to this person mentally. Like, this is a place where you're broken up from the toxic person, but they still take free real estate in your mind. Like, there's still a piece that like they control, that they still have. And you're like, I don't like this, but they still have control over it. Like, rumination is a common trap that keeps you constantly thinking about the narcissist, having these intrusive thoughts, wondering, how are they actually doing? Are they getting better? Maybe the next person is getting what I wanted. Maybe I'm missing out on something. And it has you replay past events, has you think, like, maybe I was the toxic one. Maybe he did do this. Maybe I should have done this. Maybe I could have done this better. And you start to play these different stories in your mind telling you a different reality than what actually was real. This will lead you to the place where you start to question and doubt your own self-esteem and your own self-worth. I wasn't good enough. If I would have been better, then he would have changed. If I would have been better, then he wouldn't have cheated. If I would have done this, then, and the stories go on and on and on that make you spiral out into frustration, anxiety, and depression because you're not sure about the past. I could have done something different. I should have done something different. And so in order to break free from the rumination, we have to go back and we have to help you rewire the story that you believe. Because you believe a certain reality that puts you back in that moment. When we are able to rewire it and to bring truth into the situation, you start to separate the fiction and the fantasy from the facts, from the reality of the situation. So when we do this, we help shift your focus and redirect your thoughts towards what is actually true, what is actually helping you move forward. A lot of times the rumination, we're working on rewiring the story, and then we're working on channeling and directing you towards the next direction, like the direction you need to go to complete your goals, that line up with your vision values of who you actually want to be. With this, it starts to bring in activities that actually help you, that bring you joy, that puts you into mindfulness, that puts you in a state of power and control over your emotions, your willpower, and help you get into a supported community to help you thrive and move forward. Now, the third thing I want to be able to do is talking about changing the narrative, which I've alluded to already. This is the story you're telling yourselves. Like, you have to be able to understand, like, this is the number one essential piece that breaks people out of trauma bonds, rumination, intrusive thoughts, sleepless nights, the abuse that pulls them back into the moment. Like, this is the one thing that we found consistently helps people when they do the work. When they actually work through this process, is the story you tell yourself about the narcissist and the relationship greatly influences all of your emotions and all of your actions today, right now. By challenging this, by working on reframing the narrative that you actually have, you start to begin to see the reality of the situation, and you start to release the emotional grip the narcissist has on you. People are like, is that easy? It's that easy, and it's that hard at the same time. There's a piece of being able to rewire the story in your mind that is simple, but is very hard for people to do. Because there's layers and layers of stories that you have to walk through. There's layers and layers of abuse that you have to work through. There's layers and layers of trauma that you have to peel back the onion to get to the heart of it so we can actually change the story that you believe. Like, once you understand the distorted reality that the narcissist presented and you're able to actually challenge the false beliefs that they instilled in you, you're able to start to break free. But until that happens, you'll start to believe the lies that the narcissist put upon you. You'll start to believe the lies that your narcissistic parents put upon you. You'll start to believe the toxic people in your life that have placed limiting beliefs on you. The thing is, over a period of time, those limiting beliefs that other people have pushed and prodded and placed on you start to become your own. Start to become your own version of that, your own story that you're telling yourself on a day-to-day basis. So being able to move to a place where you start to replace those beliefs with the actual truth, empowering narratives that emphasize your worth, your strength, and your resilience. Now, I'm not just talking about mantras. I'm not just saying, hey, think this, because if it doesn't actually replace the old one, it's just adding a mantra on top, and it's not actually getting rid of the limiting belief or the core fear or the core thing that's happening, the story underneath. It's not actually getting rid of it. When this happens, what you're trying to do is you're trying to put a square peg into a round hole. It doesn't work. Like, there's still something that's not matching up. You're like, this should work. And you find this over and over when you work with a therapist that's like telling you, hey, think of these mantras, talk about this, all this stuff. And you're like, I'm doing that, but I don't feel any better. Because a lot of times it's not actually matched up correctly to the actual story that you believe. If you're at the place right now where you're like, I want to break free from this. I want to break free from the story that I believe that leaves me trapped, that leaves me stuck. No matter what I do, I want to get out of this. Go to escapetoxicity.com. We've got the 7-day challenge for $7 to help you understand narcissistic abuse, reactive abuse, the guilt that you feel, the hard truths that you need to hear, the reality of the situation that you need to hear. It's a foundational level course just to give you an idea. This is the first step in your healing to understand how to be able to continue moving forward into a healthy state. How to continue moving forward so that you don't go back. How to continue moving forward so that you no longer care about the narcissist. That person no longer triggers you. That person no longer has free real estate in your mind. That person no longer matters to the point where they would walk into your life and you'd be like, I'm not even attracted to this because I've grown so much. Our goal is to help you rise so much that when you run into that person, you're like, that doesn't even speak to me anymore because of the person that I now am. If you want help with this, you can go to rawmotivation.com, click on the one-on-ones. Would love to work with you one-on-one. Would love to invite you into our Thriver community if you end up being a good fit to be able to help grow and change and develop you consistently. We have people inside there that are maximizing their growth in all areas of life, in their fitness, in their relationships, in their spirituality, and in their business. If you want to be able to run with that in a fast environment, one that's going to accelerate your healing and growth, reach out to me at rawmotivations.com. Would love to help you out there. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, like, rate, and review, and send us someone else because you never know who might be hurting through this or from this type of abuse. You might be the one person that gives them the breath of fresh air and helps them get free. Thank you all so much. Y'all have a blessed day.